It was Wamatangi who raised concern that Senate could be seen to be a lynch mob, because it's one thing to face a committee of 11 members, but I do not know, will the governor be required to appear before the entire Senate?
Absolutely. I think it's a precedent-setting process. I think let me be honest with this. The Senate was extremely disappointed with the proposal by the special committee on the Mongo area case. There's a large number of senators, in fact the overwhelming majority, felt that the finding of that committee was flawed, and we did raise those issues even as we were gagged by law to have any particular, to reverse or to review that decision. So the Senate has decided not to let itself so helpless to 11 members who then are lobbied and influenced differently. So let's see how this process then is able to, as Senator Kalwale says, is able to secure the integrity of the Senate. Number two, what we always caution ourselves as a Senate whenever matters are brought before us is not to hold ourselves to the highest standards of fairness. And that's what I think the Senator Wamatangi was trying to allude to, that we must not be seen. And every other time the Senate has decided to conduct its work in the most objective manner, in a most transparent manner. Senators have rejected a couple of impeachment motions which have been brought before us. In fact, sometimes even when the committee has recommended, the Senate has overturned that recommendation because that is an option available. You know, the irony is that the Senate can overturn a verdict to impeach, but cannot overturn a verdict not to impeach from the special committee. And I think in the last proceedings, the senators found themselves fairly helpless. If you look at those proceedings, so you're trying to cure that situation, and therefore there's nothing wrong when you do a precedent-setting kind of process, because then it informs a process in the future.
But definitely those are genuine concerns there, that for one governor to appear before an entire house of the Senate, it is really intimidating to defend yourself in front of all those people. You are how many in number?
We are 67.
67 in number.
See, that is provided for in law. Let's first say that, so that our viewers are clear. And then two, it has been done in other jurisdictions, and it has been done successfully, and also to the satisfaction of most of those that are concerned. But let me state this clearly to my mind, what it boils down to. Now let's first remember that governors are elected on a political platform. A governor who gets impeached, for example, and I'm sure you also heard some of the comments by one of the senators, that it is almost now apparent to the mind of many. There's a question as to why is it that most of the governors who've been impeached are from the Jubilee side. And one of the contributors said that it looks like the members of county assemblies, the MCAs from the Jubilee side, are doing their work in oversighting, while the governors on the court side have managed to manage the MCAs. That's why you find most of them not that there are no issues in the court counties. And then also remember that senators are equally elected on a political platform. They have different political persuasions. And based on that, sometimes whatever the findings of a committee are, and I want to be clear to my mind, because I raised these issues on the last two impeachment processes that came to the floor. You see, because all those 67 people have got different persuasions, they've got different mindsets and thought lines. And you know, what politicians do is to speak out. They are paid to talk and hear their views and shape opinion. And so when 10 people go and sit and come up with a decision, albeit based on their own investigations and what they think finally, the rest, because of the structure of the law and the standing orders, which seem to gag any further discussion or change of the verdict of those 10, most of the people who remain, the rest of the senators, would feel deprived of an opportunity to input what they thought would have been better. And also, and this is a very a serious issue, which I intend actually to be raising today myself, because we said yesterday that the Speaker of the Senate will be coming to the floor to now lay down the rules of procedure, because this is a precedent setter now. We've not done it before. You see, in the last impeachment process, I asked a very important question. It is clear in one of our standing orders that it says that the Speaker shall summon or call the House to come and hear the charges against the governor. But what actually happens is that when the motion is received, the resolution is received from the County Assembly, the Speaker reads out what those resolutions are and puts the paper down. And one of the questions that I raised is, does that constitute a hearing? Does that, is that adequate to inform members, even at plenary level, to make decisions just by reading of those 2 pages? I mean, I think that particular standing order envisages a process whereby senators will be able to sit and hear the matter. Now, secondly, and a quick one on this is, see, in the standing orders it says, provides for that if a special committee is appointed, then the special committee shall investigate the matter. But it does not say that when you use plenary, that the plenary shall investigate the matter. So the next important question is, because
it will be a simple
as you've seen before, most of the 2 of the impeachments we've had, and especially the first one of Martin Wambora, was defeated on several issues of law, or rather it was held in abeyance even up to now on several flimsy issues. So this process must culminate into a completely tight and waterproof judgment, which can only arise from a thorough and clear investigation. So we also have to set this out clear. And so I think in summary, my mind tells me that what we need to do is set out very clear rules of procedure so that every member of the House will feel adequately informed to be able to make a decision on his particular vote. But remember that even the accused himself must also find, feel, and see that justice has been done to him. And I think this is going to be very interesting, because it's the first time that the House has done it. But we also must be very clear that we don't do it in a way that will open a wider opportunity for any person who has been impeached to be able to run to a court of law and say, I didn't get justice.
Thank you. For me, there are 2 things. I've actually clearly listened on what Senator Wamatangi has raised, but I accept the President that a committee of the full House, once it has been established under the parliamentary jurisdiction, with the standing orders that exist, then acquires the powers of actually being having powers of the High Court. To that extent, I believe the Speaker will actually the locus standi to then set up the rules as you've said. But point number 2, which I think, yes, which I think my 2 colleagues, because they're in the Senate and they're very diplomatic, is very simple. The reason why some members of the Senate have raised this issue of let us move out of the committee into the full House of the 68 members of the Senate is because you cannot bribe 68 members of the Senate. The issues which have been raised is that many of these governors have impeachment motions have been brought to the House, and it has been known that some of them have actually spent a lot of money to influence the committee, so that the committee then has given the ruling out of the hearings which they've made. And according to what Senator said, you can't reverse that decision once that has.
But doesn't it mean that therefore probably what they should be looking at is amending the standing orders instead of now going into this new system that even they have?
According to me, if you allow me to
I had not finished. I think it's important that I finish. Let me finish what I'm saying. What I read through is, I mean, we sit in that house, we're in Parliament, and you meet many of these members of the Senate, and they'll say, once we sat and we started debating so-and-so's, a few senators were called to go and meet the same group which had come, and we wondered why they were meeting these groups. So-and-so was saying that we needed to have met so-and-so. The issues are, I think we need to start asking ourselves, in law, as legislators, have we conducted ourselves beyond reproach in terms of trying to make sure that devolution works?
Yes.
If you look at some of the Auditor General's reports on some of the county governments, it's astounding the things you see there. And then all of a sudden, a governor who has been accused of this misappropriation, or his team, misappropriations of billions of shillings, comes to the Senate, a hearing is done. Once it's over, you just see the headline saying so-and-so has been cleared for whatever that he was accused of. I think, to me, it is now the responsibility of the Senate to come up with modalities in law within their jurisdiction, to come as members of on oversighting, members who have the full responsibility of oversighting what governors are doing, to make sure that we begin to hold the governors to account.
Yes, but this expression of lack of faith in the committees of the Senate, this particular committee, because they do serve a purpose. Yes, when you say now we won't go to the committee, we do not need a committee, we will do it as a whole house, isn't it an expression of distrust within yourselves, within the Senate?
Well, let me state my fact very clearly, because I think really this lies on a question of ideological and expression of senators or legislators that when they feel they're suppressed, that's a more compelling reason, and I'll tell you why. Now, if you look at, for example, the process of impeaching a governor, and some of them, quite a number of them, have come to the Senate. Most of the county assemblies have got more members of the county assemblies who are more than the senators in number. So if it is a question of bribing them, they could bribe them at the county assembly level. Look at some of them, and I'm not saying that that doesn't happen. Indeed it happens, when, like when they say that some of the MCAs are being managed, that is true, it happens. Now secondly, see, when this matter moves to court also, the question is not whether can you afford to bribe the entire judiciary. And I think this is the point, that what senators truly feel, because that's what I also felt and feel, that when a decision is made at that committee level and then it is brought to the House, and you know, when the committee comes to report, they normally report on the last day, about 3 or 4 hours before a decision is made. And so when you look at a 50-page report within 1 hour, you can't interrogate. So what you do is you flip through, and then you find ask, oh, what is the decision? Oh, we are not impeaching this particular issue. But you cannot make up, you can't contribute logically to that particular debate. And to me, you know, as a politician, as a leader and legislator, I would feel much more compelled. Even if somebody was to say, I'm going to give you $1 billion, but I can't bring out what I want to be seen and to say on a particular issue that shapes the destiny of the country or the people, I would go for the first, and I would say, let me have a chance to be heard. And I think this is what I'm saying, that I think we have to come out with very clear rules of procedure. We had proposed that we do an amendment to the standing orders to extend the time that an impeachment process is supposed to take, such that once you receive this report from a committee, then you can have at least a whole week, go home with it, read it, come up with your issues, give feedback.
Make more sense. That seems to make more sense instead of subjecting an individual to grilling by the entire House.
I think the changing of the standing orders is in the long term. You do not change the standing orders just to deal with Director Gachagua's impeachment. So I think it is important. I can tell you for a fact that I have issued a minority report in an impeachment of the deputy governor of Machakos. I canvassed my points, and the Senate, across the party divide, adopted my position, and therefore we did not impeach the governor, the deputy governor, Kiala. So then therefore it should also be true, or it should also follow, that even if the committee returns a no guilty verdict, then the Senate should be in a position to overturn.
Currently it's not.
So that unfortunately can't happen as per the standing orders and as per even what the law stipulates. So it needs a substantive amendment to that effect. But I want to also be dispassionate of the fact that I'm a senator, and to, you know, where something is true, it is true. The undue influence in proceedings of committees, either through political thorax or whatever other incentive, does exist. And I think it's only important that every politician, every representative or legislator holds himself or herself to the highest standard of public or integrity in terms of the execution of his or her mandate, it is undermining to the entire integrity of the Senate and Parliament when a member of the National Assembly or the member of the Senate can be influenced either through coercion or through incentive, you know, to avert or subvert a committee's report.
Okay.
How would you, for instance, come to a finding where somebody has breached a provision of law? You have breached a provision of law, and you say that you've cleared the person on that breach. So I think there are some things that must meet the logic, or even there's just the due process of, or the conventional wisdom of how our deliberations and conclusions are made.
Okay, we are waiting to see what happens with the Senate once that grilling by the whole House starts. But now we want to move on to other matters, and especially the Jubilee National Delegates Convention that is starting today. The three-day event starts today, yes, and of course 10,000 delegates are already in Nairobi for that, but we'll be discussing that after this short break. Power Breakfast still continues.